Hi, I'm Kristi Graner. Welcome to the Dare to Believe podcast. Today we are going to interpret a dream, and I just love interpreting dreams with the Bible in mind. God is a giver of dreams, and He teaches us through His Word how to understand dreams. And so we're using the ancient Hebraic dream interpretation process to interpret Jill Wyckoff's dream. So, welcome and thank you for being here, Jill.
Thank you.
Yes. Jill was on earlier podcasts and was talking to us about her ministry with creativity and all that they have been doing. But we now have a dream that she had in April, I think you said.
Right.
Yeah. So tell me your dream, Jill.
Yeah, I was in a hotel, and one of our leaders, Debbie, had a hotel room across the hall, and she had left her room, and I needed to get something from it. So I went across to Debbie's room, and there were notes everywhere. Now, I know in reality, Debbie is a Bible scholar. She loves the Word. And so I knew that they were scriptures and they were her brilliant notes. And I said, God, show me something. I want to see what you want me to see. And so he started supernaturally moving some of these notes towards me, but I couldn't read them. They were either illegible or in code or maybe both. I don't know which, but I couldn't read. I kept saying, but I want to see. I can't. What do you want me to see, Lord? And I was sitting on the ground, and all of a sudden he started moving me supernaturally across the room to
While
a
you're still
note
sitting?
while I'm sitting. And I remember thinking, this must look demonic. Just that being moved by some weird force that's moving me across the room. But I knew it was God moving me, and He was moving me closer to a note that I still couldn't read. And I was so frustrated. God, what do you want to show me? I can't read this. I want to see something that you want to show me. What do you want to show me? And then I thought He appeared. So a man appeared. I thought it was God, but it wasn't. But a man appeared that was, he called himself David, and and he was some sort of angelic being, but he looked more like a surfer dude, blonde hair and casual clothing. And I said, "What do you want to show me? I want to see something." And he said to me, "You need to get a gun." And I said, am I going to have to shoot people with it? And he said, yes. And then he said to me, he said, Debbie came back into the room. I introduced her to this man, David. And I went to leave, and he said, don't forget, he said, you have to get your gun and fill out the paperwork and bring it to me. The paperwork I sent to you, you need to fill it out and bring it back. And on the paperwork, when I went across the hall and looked at the paperwork, there were two questions on it. And one was, how do you feel about violence? And the other was, how do you handle trauma? And then
Okay.
I woke up.
Wow. Interesting dream. And is this all in color? Or is it black and white or muted color or what's
It is all in color. I could see like yellow Post-its, and
okay?
it was all in color.
That's what I was like, are they yellow post-its? So yes, they were.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. So and if you were to give this dream a title, what would you call this?
You need to get a gun.
You need to get a gun. Okay. So pretty much the Lord's given you an assignment. This is important. But so the first thing we jump to when we're thinking having a dream like this is, oh my gosh, I need to go out and get a gun and I'm going to literally shoot people with it. But I don't think that's what the dream's about. And so let me tell the dream back to you and we'll process it a little bit together. So you are in this hotel. And are you there with Bray or just you?
Yes.
Okay, so you're there with Bray,
Yes.
and you and Bray are in a hotel room, and Debbie, who is part of your ministry,
Right.
is across the hall from you.
Correct.
And you know that Debbie's got to leave, or somehow for some reason you know she leaves the hotel room, but not. And you decide you need something, but you don't know what you need. And so you go into her hotel room, even though you know she's not there, and you are seeing all these post-it notes everywhere, and you're like, oh, this is just like Debbie, because she's always making notes in the Bible about the Bible, and she knows so much, and blah blah.
Right.
So then you're like, Lord, show me something. What do I need to see? And all of a sudden, all these post-it notes start coming to you, and you're looking at them, but you can't tell what they say because they're either in a code or they're in a different language or something, but you can't understand them. You see the writing, but you can't understand them.
Right.
And so then you're like, I still don't understand, Lord. And you're sitting down on the floor. Were you sitting down on the floor when he brought them all to you?
I believe I was.
Okay. And then as you're sitting on the floor, you start moving around the room, and you're like, this would look really creepy to somebody thinking it's demonic, but really I know it's the Lord doing this.
Right.
And did you have peace about it?
I did. I just
Okay.
felt I was in the supernatural right
Yeah.
then, right?
Yeah.
Because they were coming towards me, and then I was moving towards
Towards
them.
them.
So it was so
And so there's a
supernatural.
couple more times when you are brought up to a note and you look at it and you can see the writing, but you can't tell what it says. And it's frustrating for you a couple
Right.
different times. And then all of a sudden a guy enters the room. Like, does he enter through the door? He just shows up.
He just appeared.
He
I
just,
was
okay.
so frustrated. Like, Lord, show me what you want me to know.
So
And
this
then he
guy
appeared.
shows up and you feel peaceful about it. So you're asking, Lord, show me what I need to know.
Right.
And this guy shows up. And he tells you his name is David, and he looks like a surfer dude. And he is that when you ask him, tell me what I need to know? And he tells you need to get a gun.
Right.
Okay. And so then Debbie comes back in the room. You introduce her to him, and that goes just fine.
Before that, though, when he said I need to get a gun, I said, "Am I going to shoot people with it?"
Yes.
And
And
he
he
said
says
yes.
yes. Okay. So then Debbie comes back and you introduce him, and that goes fine. And then as you're going back to your room, and he says, and before you go, don't forget that you've got to fill out this application and get that back to me.
Right.
And then you go back to your room and you look at the application and you see the question on there, how do you feel about violence? And then the other one is, how do you deal with trauma?
Right.
Okay. And that's the end of it.
That's the end of it.
All right. So interesting dream. And you're in a temporary place because it's a hotel. You're not, this isn't where you live. This is the temporary place that you are not always going to be there. It's just time being. And you are going into Debbie's room, and you because there's something you think that you need to know. So you're not in your room getting this knowledge or understanding. You're going into Debbie's room. So I think what the Lord's telling you is, you and Debbie are both in a temporary place, and there's something you're almost jealous or wanting what her gift to be able to get into the Word. And so it sounds like she's just crazy about getting into the Word and making notes and getting information. And you wish you had that gift. You wish you had the revelation.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. And so you want that kind of gifting. And so you're trying to kind of enter into her gifting and want that. And you have supernatural experiences, and it's good. But these things are brought to you, and you can't read them. It's not stuff that's for you. So it's her gift. So you're frustrated because you're trying to live out her gift. I think that's really what the Lord's saying. He loves you, and he's going to give you these encounters. He's not mad at you. You're not in trouble, but you're not going to be able to get what she gets from the Word, because it's just her gifting, and your giftings are different. You're trying to do it in her room. But you do have angelic help, and I believe that says David. And I don't know what the name David. We could sure look that up and see what the name David means. But what comes to mind is King David, right?
Right.
Right. And so he's the one who slew the giants, and you have an angel that is helping you, that is maybe named David. And so there is an angelic help. And what's interesting is, you said, God, I need help. Or what do I need to know? God, tell me something. So when you called out to God for help, you got an angel. And I think
Right.
that's so important this day and age, especially when people begin to worship angels and do all kinds of crazy stuff. Angels are very, very real, but they're sent by the Lord. And you called out to the Lord, and the Lord sent an angel. So that you did that in the correct order. That's very good. But then you ask him what you need. So, okay, the Lord sent you, what do I need? And he tells you need a gun. And so the first thing we go to this day and age when violence is so prevalent is okay, I'm going to actually literally need a gun. I don't think that's what the Lord's telling you, because guns are what shoot powerful things, and your power is in the authority Jesus has given you. And so, what the Lord's telling you is you need to shore up your ability to wield spiritual authority, because you have it, and to wield it, not just to use it to protect, to use it to defend, to use it to fight. It's a spiritual warfare weapon that you have that you need to get, and you need to be ready to fight warfare with your spiritual authority, your own personal. It's like a personal handgun, right? Your spiritual authority. And so then Debbie's back in the room. So I think this is the Lord saying, there's not an issue between you and Debbie about this. You just need to you're not going to get her gift. You're not going to have her gift, and that's okay.
Dang.
I know, and that's okay. But you're getting a big gun, and you're going to be
Right.
able to wield that gun.
Right.
However, he says, don't forget, you need to discern, you need to fill out this application. So there are things you need to work through to be able to out, to be able to wield your spiritual authority the way you need to. And those are in the application. And that is, how do you handle violence? So what do you do when people are violent? How do you shut that down in the spirit? You're going to be wielding this gun, and violence will be around you, spiritual violence, but also violence in the natural, and your spiritual authority is going to shut some of that down. But then how do you deal with trauma? Because people are traumatized all around you all the time. And so how do you deal with these things? You need to work that out before you're going to be able to wield the spiritual authority that the Lord is asking you to go get. Go learn how to use this spiritual authority. Does that make sense?
It does make sense. It does make sense. And I know the Lord has been speaking to me about that over the years. I used to be very, very quiet and shy. And I did get a word one time, I think it was about 2019, and this woman said, you are going to be like Gandalf in the spirit, and saying, you shall not pass. Like,
See?
you're going to wield this authority.
Mm-hmm.
I was so far away from that, so I know that. I recognize it. I'm stewarding that word, and I'm stepping into it. But it is a reminder to step into it even further,
Mm-hmm.
especially in this day and age with what we're living in and through right now, right? For such a
Right.
time as this.
Well, and I love that. I mean, I bet that Gandalf would have a big gun, I mean, if that represents exactly what he did, you shall not pass. He had that great big staff that he put bam down on the ground, and the demon couldn't get past. Right? So this
Right.
is what you have, only God's saying, you don't got to have the staff, you're going to have a big spiritual gun. But you have to have it. You have to learn how to use it. You have to learn how to get ammunition for it. You have to learn how to point and aim and be accurate with it. So you need to learn to use that gun well. And part of that is learning how you deal with violence and trauma.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's good. Because we can say, I'm a warrior until everything hits. And then how do we respond
Right.
when it's not just, yeah, rah, 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 I'm a warrior,
Mm-hmm.
but things hit and they hit hard? Then how do you respond? And I need to use that gun. I need to
Yeah.
learn how to wield that weapon of authority. So
Yep.
I feel, yeah,
Yeah.
it's right on.
And part of that, and dealing with people around you that are traumatized
Yeah.
and have had violence happen to them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, that's good.
Well, can I pray for you?
Please. I'd
Well,
love that.
so Lord, I thank you so much for Jill. I thank you for the call you have on her life. I thank you that it's not the same as her friend's call, but it is good, and it is important, and it is hers. And I bless you, Jill, with the ability to wield the spiritual authority God has given you, that you are powerful, that you fight as in the kingdom way, that you don't fight as the world fights, but you fight with spiritual authority and strength. And I declare over you that you will shut doors, and you will open doors, and you will stop demons, and you will bring healing into people's lives. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Thank you.
Yes. Well, this is Kristi Graner, and interpreting a dream for Jill Wyckoff, and we are with Dare to Believe Ministries. If you have a dream that you would like to send in, you can go to our website, dtbmn.org, and you can give us a dream there, and we will be glad to interpret it for you and get back information to you about your dream. So blessings, and thanks for joining us.